All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on the security playbook for artificial intelligence. We're going to explore not just how these incredibly powerful systems can be tricked, but maybe more importantly, how we can build a rock-solid defense against anyone who tries. We trust AI to do some amazing things, right? From finding malware to being the brains behind our favorite chatbots. But what if that trust is a little misplaced? What if the very intelligence we're relying on, the thing that makes it so powerful, can actually be turned against us? That's the question we have to answer. Look, the firewalls and antivirus software that we've all relied on for decades, they're just not built for this new world. AI systems have their own unique blind spots, and attackers are getting scarily good at exploiting them. To fight back, we need a whole new map for this new battlefield. And the good news is, that map actually exists. There's a framework that lays out the exact blueprint adversaries are using to attack AI. And by understanding their playbook, we can start building a much, much stronger defense. So what is this map I'm talking about? Well, it's a framework called MITRE ATLAS. But don't think of it as just a guide. It's more like a super detailed topographical map of the entire AI threat landscape, showing us every single tactic, every potential ambush we need to watch out for. So what exactly is ATLS? It stands for Adversarial Threat Landscape for Artificial Intelligence Systems. But honestly, think of it less like a technical document and more like a living, breathing encyclopedia of every known attack against AI. And we're not talking about theory here. This is a library built from real-world case studies, documenting what's actually happening on the front lines. Now, if you're in the security world, you've probably heard of MITRE's ATT&CK framework for traditional cybersecurity. Well, Atlas is basically its counterpart for the AI world. While ATT&CK deals with things like network breaches, Atlas is laser-focused on threats that are totally unique to AI, like tricking a model with carefully crafted data or even straight-up stealing the model itself. All right, let's crack open this playbook and see what's inside. At its core, it really breaks down into two key parts. Tactics, that's the attacker's high-level goals, and techniques, the specific sneaky methods they use to actually get there. So first up, we have tactics. This is the why behind an attack. It often follows a path that looks something like this. An attacker starts with a little reconnaissance, gathering intel on the AI system. Then, they figure out a way to get access and interact with the model. And finally, they go for the impact, manipulating its decisions or just making it fail completely. Okay, so if tactics are the why, then techniques are the how. And this is where the theory gets very, very real, because these are the specific, clever methods attackers are using right now. One of the most insidious techniques out there is called data poisoning. I love this analogy. Imagine trying to teach a child, but you hand them a textbook that's just full of lies. That's exactly what data poisoning is. An attacker doesn't hack the finished AI. They corrupt the very data it learns from. By feeding it bad information during training, they can warp the model from the inside out, making it reliable or biased in exactly the way they want. And then there's a technique that's been making headlines everywhere: prompt injection. This is where an attacker crafts these clever prompts to trick a language model, like a chatbot, into breaking its own safety rules. It's used, as the source material says, to circumvent existing safety controls, to generate harmful or inappropriate responses. It's basically social engineering for machines. I know this can all sound a little abstract, maybe a little academic, right? But these attacks have serious, real-world consequences. So let's look at a case study that shows exactly how these techniques can be used to take down a really sophisticated AI system. Okay, get this. The target was an AI-powered malware scanner, but the attackers didn't need to hack a single server. Nope, they just studied the public documents and the API. From that, they learned enough to create what are called adversarial examples. These are special files that are totally malicious, but they're engineered to look perfectly safe to the AI. The result? A universal bypass that made their malware completely invisible. It's a brilliant and frankly terrifying example of using an AI's own logic against it. So we've seen the attacker's playbook. It's pretty scary stuff. The big question is, how do we write our own defensive one? This is where Atlas stops being a scary story and becomes an incredibly practical tool for security teams. So how do you actually use Atlas? Well, it boils down to this really practical three-step process. First, you map your own AI systems against the framework to see where you might be exposed. Then,
You use that map to conduct risk assessments, figuring out what's most important to protect. And finally, and this is the cool part, you go on the offensive yourself, simulating attacks to find and fix your weaknesses before a real adversary does.
And what's great is that this framework leads directly to concrete defensive actions. To stop data poisoning, you lock down your data pipelines. To catch those adversarial attacks, you constantly monitor your model's outputs for anything that looks weird. Ultimately, it's about building a security posture that is just as smart and just as adaptive as the AI it's designed to protect.
So let's end on this one thought. Artificial intelligence is not standing still. I mean, it's evolving faster than almost any technology we've ever seen. Frameworks like MITRE ATLAS give us the blueprint to keep up. The only question left is, are you ready to use it?